Hi everyone, welcome to Beer Protocol. We are talking about the last two people of the Black Order, Corvis, I want to say Blade, and that's not right because I
Oh,
did it again.
James.
So Corvis Glaive and Proxima Midnight. I always
I,
want to call him Corvis Glaive.
I love you to death, but why did you pregame and review the cards to get the name wrong when the camera was
Shut
off?
the hell up. Edit, edit,
Hi,
edit.
edit, edit, edit. Hi, everyone. This is Jacob. I'm the other half of this review duo. Today, I'm going to be drinking another V for Victory. So I actually have a new webcam, and the can is blurred. God
Yeah,
bless technology.
the
But it's V for Victory, the Cloudwalker Hazy Juicy IPA.
um, I'm drinking water.
It's pretty good, actually. I like this IPA. James, that water is colors.
It is. It's got a little bit of electrolyte stuff in it. So clink,
Clink.
because I can't drink alcohol right now. Ah, fun, fun. So let's talk about the last two members, other than Thanos. But Thanos isn't really a member. He's just kind of a leader.
What do you mean he's not a member? He gets the faction bonus like
He's
anyone
not a
else.
member of himself. He's just
Yes, he is.
like a god king. Um, so Corvus
James,
Glaive.
I appreciate what you're doing, but real quick, any tyrant is first and foremost, like any tyrant on Thanos' level, is first and foremost a master of his own desires. He absolutely rules over himself. All of Thanos' abilities count as within.
I can oppress myself too.
I don't know if it's new. I randomly saw going through my YouTube recommendations and epic rap battles of history, which is still a thing, of who friggin' was it? It was Thanos versus Oppenheimer.
What?
And I'm like, wait. Oh, I get it. It's because they're destroyers of worlds. But
I
still, like
get
that
it.
took me a second of just like I kind of want to see that video just to see what Oppenheimer has to say about Thanos. Like, how would you even know
So,
what he is?
so talking about that, the question came up of when he snapped, he killed half of everything. What if he snapped and didn't put it in the like? So this is what happens when programmers talk about this stuff. What
This
happens
is
if
why you should talk to programmers.
yeah? What happens if if he didn't put in the exception of himself, and he just went snap, and then like the glove just falls?
Actually, the thing is, and I feel somewhat confident about this, and which is credit to the writing and the acting in that movie. I think Thanos would have been fine with that. Like that version
and they
of the
just
character.
and they just walk over and just like
But
unsnap.
like, I think Thanos like assumed he would be okay because he was the one triggering it. But I also think like basically just given his half of everyone random, fair. Like comic Thanos would have been pissy about it. I think that at that point that movie Thanos was like so resigned, or not resigned. It's the bad word, but he was like so driven. It's like so be it.
I win. What are you gonna do? All right.
Well, it's like he'd already lost everything at that point.
So let's talk about the important things. Corvus Glaive.
Okay, Corvus Glaive is a member
Oh,
of the Black Order. He is 4 threat, so he comes in at our higher end of average. So we're expecting pretty significant things out of Corvus. He has 6 health and a medium movement, and he's size 2. So pretty average so far. 6 health is nice. Means he's got a little bit of beef on those crow bones.
me
He
move. Not
has
bad.
3 defense across the board for all of the different attack types, which is a little under average. So already his defenses are a little low for a 4-point character, which implies he either has some kind of ability to boost his defense or he's going to be an offensive powerhouse. Since we're doing this one well after the card was spoiled, guess what it is?
It's both.
Yeah, his basic attack is Strike. Uh, it is range 2, standard melee attack, 5
Yep.
dice, good solid hit. I think our last review talked about Black Dwarf with 6 dice on his basic attack being like the gold standard for a 4-threat character.
Yep.
5 dice, perfectly respectable. It's a good attack.
The special thing about this, like of course he gets power, but the special thing about this is that on a wild he gets Pierce, what's on a basic attack is amazing.
It's one of the reasons why I think Killmonger's basic attack is honestly better than his more expensive attack. His Pierce comes up and does a lot of work. He has a special energy attack, though, which costs 0, at range 4 for 4 dice called Atom Splitter, which after this attack is resolved, he gets 1 power. I think that's really cool. My point in case being Okoye. gets a surprising amount of work with her basic energy ranged attack. It also gives him a little bit of flexibility against some heavy hitters like Venom.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Being able to stand back, attack Venom's weakest energy type out of Venom's retaliation range. That's good. I mean,
That's actually a very, very good thing to do against Venom.
and almost any basic ranged attack that doesn't cost any energy or any power is worth remembering for a lot of cards that give you out of turn attacks or that give you extra generated attacks. That it gives you the additional flexibility where you could drop him. You could use drop off to land him near a objective point, and then he can make his ranged attack to still get the attack on a drop off.
Yep. And then
Okay,
there's of course there's Death Blow, physical
Death
attack,
Blow.
range 3,
Yeah.
7 dice, which is pretty awesome for 4 power. After this attack resolved, this character may advance medium, which is once again pretty awesome. But the important thing about this is that after you move that medium, if you get a wild, you can go ahead and make another strike.
So what I'll point out real quick is because both triggers are after this attack is resolved, since you're the active player, you get to choose the order that those resolve in. So you could attack and then move your medium, or you could move medium, which is his normal movement, and attack someone who thought they were relatively safe. It's really good.
Considering his strike has also the Wild of Pierce, like you are just doing so much damage unless you're going against Cap or Black Panther, which takes blanks as actual blocks.
All right, so his first superpower is Glaive's Edge. During the next strike or death blow, add blanks to the total successes. This is good. However, it is 3 power. So to use this with death blow, which you clearly can because it's called out by name, is 7 power total. So that is his big fat turn. Where for whatever reason your opponent left you Corvis Glaive with 7 power and didn't focus fire on him to get rid of him. Or Corvus flipped last turn. 7 power is a real high barrier to entry. There's a few scenarios that make that easier. Like if you're playing Serum, which gives you extra power each turn, or if you have another objective that gives you power each turn, then I think that starts to add up really quickly and can make Glaive really dangerous. His second superpower, Husband of Proxima Midnight.
Let's skip that one.
We'll come back to this.
Yeah. Then you have Glaive of Immortality. When this character would suffer damage from an enemy effect, reduce the damage suffered by 1 to a minimum of 1. Basically, it's the Iron Man thing. You just reduce your any damage coming in by 1.
Yep. It's actually really cool. It makes him surprisingly tanky and helps explain some of his lower on average defenses because he's always going to take 1 less damage from the attack. It's really cool. And then his final ability is he is a gem bearer of reality and time. So he can take either or both if you feel like investing a lot of your threat
don't
into
take
one
both.
model.
Don't take both.
James,
don't take one. I mean, it's I like the reality and time gem. But we're going to have to talk about the gems themselves because they're kind of characters. But I think Corvis Glaive by himself does not need the extra stuff to spend power on.
Well, okay, so what is reality and time again as a reminder?
Time is you get an extra action, I believe.
I think you
can spend
3 power to get 1 extra action on your activation.
Well, talk about Husband of Proxima Midnight, and I will look up the reality gem.
Okay, Husband of Proxima Midnight. At the end of Corvus Glaive's activation, if he's within range 4 of an allied Proxima Midnight, then he may use this superpower for 0. If the allied Proxima Midnight does not have an activated token, she may activate before your turn ends. And just as a quick heads up, we'll come back to it. Proxima Midnight has a similar ability called Wife of Corvus Glaive, which is the same in reverse. Essentially, Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight, if they're within 4 of each other, can take their turns back to back. Is essentially what I believe this means, and that's really cool. That's the kind of sort of wrapping around, and we'll probably talk about it again as we summarize the 2 characters. But that's about why it's probably worth talking about these 2 characters together, because like with Rocket and Groot, they have a lot of synergy working with each other.
You know what? I don't actually know what the reality gem does.
So that's a good look up. What I'll say real quick is a kind of like a preview for the wrap-up discussion. Well, I don't necessarily see a lot of lists where I would take Rocket without Groot. I do see some situations where I would take Groot without Rocket. And I also think I see situations where you would take Proxima or Corvus by themselves and not take the partner. So I
Yep.
don't think it's a requirement to use this model effectively, because I
And
think he still has a lot of good beat stick potential without needing Proxima Midnight to make the use of that ability.
and on the same note, you don't have to do this. So there are some times that you're just like, if I do the husband of Proxima Midnight or wife of Corvis Glaive, um, I'm going to be activating everything before my opponent. They're going to get the. They're going to. Well, actually,
We'll
yeah,
come back to that.
They go last, and therefore you get to go again. So that's an advantage to it. But at the same time, uh, there are some times that you don't want her to activate, and you'll see why on her card.
So let's wrap up on Corvus Glaive real quick. If he once he flips to his injured side, his basic stats don't seem. I don't believe they
I don't
changed
think
at all.
anything changes.
He's got another 6 health on his injured side, and he still has the same movement and same abilities, no new abilities or changes. So just kind of a quick summary on Corvus Glaive. He's definitely the offensive beat stick model. He can generate a good number of attacks. If you do give him the time gem, then like by himself without really any conditions, if you've got at least 3 energy, he can always do 3 basic strike attacks, which will, at least one of those would probably give him enough energy. Like 2 basic strike attacks, if you start with 3, probably gives him enough energy to use Death Blow,
Which will
which
make
then
you
gives him the
do
move.
possible flurry.
Well, possibly a flurry, but also gives him a medium advance. So he's actually, I think, one of the few characters where I would feel pretty comfortable just standing still and using all of my actions to attack, because I can, if I get 4 energy during my turn, I can walk away by using Death Blow as the second attack.
Yeah.
So if you have a couple energy banked, you use Strike to get the other couple energy you need, and then you use Death Blow to advance and to get one more really good hit in. That's even if you don't get the flurry.
But at the same time, that's a lot of points in one character.
4?
Plus the time gem.
I don't really even think you need the time gem to make that work. Like, say he starts his turn with 2. With a 5 dice attack, if there's a target within range, he can probably get at least 2 damage. And then his second action is Death Blow, even if you don't get the flurry.
You would hope so. Yes, you would hope so.
So I think there's actually a lot of turns where Corvus can kind of live the dream and actually use both of his actions to attack, but still advance objective by moving.
So, with that, let's talk about Proxima Midnight.
Okay, so I have to scroll in a different direction.
Well,
Proxima Midnight.
While he's doing that, she is 5 health. A long move, which is nice. So she's basically sacrificing 1 health for a longer move. Size 2, whatever. She is threat 3. And like her husband, she's 3s across the board for defenses.
All right, her first attack is another basic strike. It's actually the exact same as Corvus Glaive's. 2 range, 5 dice on damage, 0 cost, and with wild, she can pierce. It also gives her energy, which is cool. She has another basic range attack, which I really like, called Spear Throw. It is range 3, 5 dice on attack, so 1 less range, 1 more die on attack, 0 cost, energy, and after it's resolved, she doesn't need a wild to do this, but after it's resolved, she places herself within 1 of the target. That's really cool. It's a basic attack, cost 0 with a teleport built into it.
Yep.
Which could, on top of her being a long range, a long movement.
She throws her spear, walks over, picks it up.
That's a lot of mobility, because remember Mothership, that tactics card they get?
Mm-hmm.
Where you choose 2 Black Order members and you teleport one of them within 1 of the other?
Yeah, she's across the board.
Do you ever want to deliver Black Dwarf to your opponent's middle of their team?
Oh, I didn't even think about it that way.
Proxima goes first, takes her long movement, throws the spear, teleports, uses Mothership. For like turn 1, turn 2 at the latest, Black Dwarf is on the other end of the table, where his short movement is kind of irrelevant, and he's pummeling your opponent's back end.
That is freaking amazing. Yeah, I would totally do that.
It's not Big Dick Thor.
It is not. It's not, but it's close.
Partially. Sorry, I'm never gonna overcome my joy at that tactic. But I think it's a really solid amount of mobility that your opponent should be aware of. If he, it's also I think helpful because that's a 3-point model and a 4-point model and a tactics card.
Hmm.
So that's actually substantially cheaper than BDT.
Yeah, but using that tactics card also with her husband, Corvis, like you could get if you like you're getting towards the end of the game, you're just a little bit behind on points and something needs to die or you need to get to an objective to kind of throw the points off. This character here is the way plus mothership to get something right up there and then immediately her husband activates.
It's like I see you. Oh God, my mind has broken. What is the name of this company? Atomic Mass Games.
Atomic Themes.
I see you, Atomic Mass Games, making Proxima Midnight with this kind of mobility and putting Mothership in the other box with Black Dwarf. It's like if they had put that tactic card in the box with Proxima Midnight, then that would have been a really obvious combo.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
so. I like to think I'm a little special for thinking of it, but I know I'm not. I know I'm not.
They're like, you should be using it this way. And we're like, no, 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 we got a better idea.
She also has one more attack. I mean,
Oh,
honestly,
actually, we got to talk about poison.
oh, poison. Yeah, if she gets a wild on spear throw, this is just pure bonus gravy at this point. That mobility is the main prize here. But she can add the poison status condition, which causes your target to lose 1 power during the power phase. As a quick reminder, everyone gains 1 power during the power phase normally, so losing 1 power essentially strips them of that free power they would have gained. It's not huge, but that trickle of power increase does count for a lot.
It is good on certain characters that are banking on that 2 from like the Asgardians, where now they're just back down to 1. And Thor can't do his awesome trickery to just go, oh, I'm getting 2 around. Screw it. Or Hulk.
I don't know if that would slow down Hulk very much. He's still getting 2 a turn.
I mean, but still, you're dropping them down to 1. So Poison is actually a really good neuterer for a lot of the bigger characters.
Hulk gets 3 a turn.
He gets 3 a turn. So he's down to 2, which is still better than having 3.
Better, but Hulk's basic attack is still a big pile of screw you dice.
All right, she also has she has another energy attack at range 4, Quantum Starburst.
James, is it fair to say that every character, if they for whatever reason wind up with a giant pile of energy of power, should have something to do with that power?
Well, yes, unless you're my opponent, and then no, you shouldn't have anything to do with all that extra power.
Yeah. This is what Proxima Midnight does if she has a big pile of energy for whatever reason.
If she's just got 4, just do this. Quantum Starburst, it's throwing 6 dice, is already starting off as a pretty dang good attack. If this attack deals damage, which more than likely it is, after this attack is resolved, the target gains bleed, poison, and stun. No wilds needed, it just happens.
It's pretty good. What I will point out is for a 4 power attack, that actually is a little low on total dice for offense.
Still, but you're throwing all these, like, this is something you're going to be doing if, like, you just need to neuter somebody.
Can I reiterate my point real quick? Sorry, not to say the attack was bad or it's not likely to do damage. It is likely to do damage, but it's not likely to be, like, a big finisher or a heavy hitter that you would use to clobber people.
No. You should never be using
worth
this.
Remembering.
Yeah, you should not be using this as a finisher move. You should be using this as that person needs to stop doing whatever the hell they're doing.
Because if anything, you actually don't want to KO someone or daze them with this attack because all of those status conditions you just put on go away.
Good point.
This is an attack you throw at someone with full health.
Yeah, this is a. Oh, I'm really close to Venom. I'm within 3. He's going to attack me back. Let's just go ahead and give him bleed, poison, stun.
And then run away. Proxima, I don't know if we actually touched on Proxima Midnight. I don't know why I keep coming on this. But she is a 3-threat model. So she's on the lower end of average for a threat cost. So kind of my expectations, again, for a 3-threat model are going to be someone who has an interesting mechanic they could bring to the table, but is not necessarily going to be able to like hold a point or burst down other characters.
Right.
So they're kind of in between. Like 4 points is kind of my golden standard for this is a model that is good enough to kind of hold its own in most situations. It'll be a big piece of the table and have a lot of board presence and do things. 3 points is they're going to kind of be able to do their job well, but they're going to have to stay within that job. And 2 points is I brought them for some utility reason.
Yeah.
Like they're 5 points is yes, this person's going to hurt people, and 6 points is Hulk. there is no other 6 point 6 threat model.
It's just Hulk. Now her powers. She's got martial prowess. When this character is targeted by an attack within 2, it may use a superpower. Instead of rolling dice equal to its defense, it rolls 5 dice. If the character suffers no damage from the attack after the attack is resolved, the attacker just receives 2. It's
great.
It's awesome. It's one of those things where you're really close to somebody, you have extra power, and just make them throw 5 dice, and hopefully nothing comes up where you take damage. So yeah.
I mean, I think it's pretty good. She shares this ability with Gamora.
Yeah.
I kind of like it more on Proxima Midnight for kind of a simple reason. Quantum Starburst is a really good attack. So if you have the extra energy, go for it. However, this is a decent enough ability, especially when her spear throw puts her in the middle of things. She's going to be within 1 of whatever she attacked, and she might be within close range of other people. So she's going to melee if she's using her range attacks. Kind of my thought process is I would honestly be okay with Proxima not trying to save energy for Quantum Starburst and instead banking energy for martial prowess.
If she's within 2.
So, but my thought is, I'm not necessarily saying I'm just going to throw her at the enemies and just like salute and say Godspeed. But I think your opponent might overvalue how much they're going to do, and they're going to dedicate attacks. So you use the spear to get into melee, and then you use your strike to bank energy. And then you can spend that on martial prowess. Hopefully you at least tank damage and take less damage, or you force them to waste an attack. Especially if you're throwing it at, not the face beat stickers. Like if you throw Proxima Midnight at Shuri, for example. Although
Yep.
Shuri will actually probably just push Proxima away and laugh to the bank.
Well,
So I think that's an interesting utility.
How many dice is Shuri's push?
6.
So yeah, she's just losing 1 dice. Now, if you're having a character that's rolling like 4 dice, 3 dice for some reason, don't activate this power. Just don't. You're giving him extra dice. Now, if Hulk run, if you're throwing like 4 dice at you on an attack, and you're like, I activate this power using 2, you're giving him an extra die.
What? So she rolls 5 defense instead of her normal defense. She's not giving the opponent any dice. She's rolling more defense.
Oh, I read that as the attacker gets the dice.
No, this is a tanking power. This is not a...
Yeah, that makes that way better.
Instead of rolling... I was wondering why you were so down on this, because this is a really decent power.
No, you're right. I read that backwards.
So her defense is normally 3, so for this, she's 5 defense against any attack, and if her extra defense means the opponent did no damage, then they take damage instead. Then the attacker takes 2 damage.
Wow, this makes it pretty awesome.
I think it's a good insurance policy for when she does use Spear Throw to engage and get stuck in. That this gives her a solid insurance of being able to take a couple hits.
Yeah, now that you're talking about that, now you pointed out my mistake. It makes Gamora way better than I thought she was.
Oh yeah, no, this is the other reason why Gamora is more tanky than she looks. Granted, though, I think Gamora has more competition for what to use her power on, because Gamora both has her teleporting assassin strike as her special, and she also has additional superpowers and I think a throw. Whereas Proxima Midnight has just Quantum Starburst. She has no other abilities which cost power.
Yeah.
So there's a decent chance that she'll have power banked to afford to be able to use this ability.
That makes that power way better than I thought. I'm impressed.
We even forgot. Proxima Midnight has invulnerability. When she would suffer damage, she suffers one less. She's tanky.
Yeah. You're throwing 3 dice, but you're reducing it by 1. That's pretty awesome. And then of course she's got the wife of Corvis Glaive, so she can bounce it back to him.
All right. So on her injured side, does she change?
I don't think so.
Doesn't look like it. Okay, so we've talked about the 2 characters. Let's talk about them together, since the designers seem to want you to take them together.
I don't know. I think having them together with the husband wife thing is nice. I don't think it's necessary. I think these characters individually are pretty solid. I don't see like the 3 defenses, but you still got a lot of movement. You got the invulnerability, martial prowess on Proxima Midnight. You have a lot there. I'm not seeing what range you want them in though.
Within 4.
Well, I mean, like you. Well,
they stay within 4 of each other, is my feel on that.
Well, no, they want to stay within 4 of each other, but I don't. Proxima seems like she wants to be at range 3. At most, like all times. Corvis seems like he wants to be also at range 3, but
I think they're both fairly flexible because they both have a basic energy ranged attack with some decent range on it. So it's actually, even if they don't get the melee attack that they really want, because I think they both want. Corvus definitely wants melee attacks. He wants to be within his bigger attacks range pretty much at all times, which is 3, I believe. Proxima is less dependent, although Proxima can use her strike to build up an energy pool to use her other abilities, or to use Quantum Starburst on the following turn if she's within 2. And with her defensive abilities, specifically with her ability triggering within 2 of the person attacking her, I think Proxima is fine staying in melee.
So what are you seeing the roles being? Because you've got like Gamora, which is or not Gamora, Nebula, which is hey, you're on the objective, you're dead. Hulk just smashes things. You have like objective holders. You've got long range attackers. I am not seeing. They're like kind of like they do everything.
They're generalist, well-rounded characters. So if you kind of think about Black Order as a whole, for what we've seen right now, like if you ran them as a list, you've got 5 points for Ebony Maw, 4 points for Black Dwarf, 4 for Corvis Glaive, and 3 for Proxima. So that's a 16-point list. Before any Infinity Stones or anything like that. 16 is roughly average.
Yep.
For a lot of the scenarios. So you could add a 1-point Infinity Stone to somebody to get to 17, which is what the original core set scenarios are. You would have to cut somebody to go to a 15-point scenario, which is a little more common after the expansion boxes have come out. And if you want to play at 20 points, you could add a few Infinity Stones and still keep the same 4 models. I would probably add another model entirely rather than just add Infinity Stones to get to 20.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a number of excellent 4 threat models you could add. But with just that core 4 again, not knowing what Thanos does, I almost guarantee you Thanos is more than 4 threat.
You think? I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if Thanos is the other 6 threat model of the game.
I would actually like to see Thanos just be like a 4 threat model that does nothing. Like he has like almost no powers or anything, and just stacks all the Infinity Stones.
I could see Thanos being like a 2 threat model and just being like, yeah, you're gonna add Infinity Stones to him. That's what he's for. So his actual threat's gonna be super variable.
Actually, I would love to see if they had. I know we're going to theory craft and we're going to talk about also like we're getting off topic, but I would love to see Thanos like be like a super low point character, but his powers just list like there's no flip at all. He's just full on like Hulk, but his powers are like if you have the time gem, you get this power. If you have the reality gem, you have this power. And it's like, oh, you don't have the mind gem on him? Okay, then you can't use that power at all.
Yeah, but then he would need like 3 character cards.
I'm still okay with this.
But kind of thinking about them as a whole, like what is their role within Black Order? So I just realized everyone except Ebony Maw in the Black Order so far has invulnerability. which means they take one less damage.
Poor little skinny guy in the back just floating along, just being like, why don't I get anything special?
Y'all, Black Order is tanky, and
Yeah.
not like Asgardians are tanky, where they can heal one. Like Asgardians are tanky. Like they're probably one of the tankiest in the factions right now. Black Order is tanky because they're tanky. They don't heal. They just have damage mitigation for days. But that's interesting that almost all of them have it.
Yeah.
And Thanos almost definitely will have some kind of damage mitigation too. So I think that might be an overall niche, is that they're all durable. It is a little confusing because both Black Dwarf and Corvus Glaive want to be within that range 2 melee. Although Black Dwarf, what we talked about last time, he wants to draw attacks to him away from the other people. So in a faction of tanky people, Black Dwarf's job is to be in the middle of the enemy team and force all their attacks into him, which leaves Corvus Glaive free to kind of go tear something up as like the pure offense piece. Proxima is kind of the ranged character. Her big attack is ranged 4, which gives her a solid board presence. It's not that expensive. She can likely get there within every other turn or so if she just throws in a couple strikes. I do kind of like, though, how mobile these two are, on top of both their turn flexibility with being able to go back to back, but also with Corvus Glaive has his deadly edge attack, giving him a free medium advance. Proxima Midnight has her spear throw, which gives her a teleport. Yep. Like they both have ways to both attack and move.
It's now with her spear throw. Do you have to do the place within one?
I believe so.
All right. So after this attack resolved, place this character within one. There's no May.
Yeah. So
you have to do that. So you're going to have to make sure that you're not going to be like, I'm going to throw this at Venom. Oops, I am totally within range of everything now.
Oops, I did it again. What I'll mention as well with her ability to go at range, her ability to teleport, as well as her long movement. For certain scenarios, because this is a scenario-based game, for certain crises, I could see the Black Order either needs to bring along an objective runner, someone who's especially good at running objectives, or it's Proxima's job. Because I could see Proxima doing a pretty okay job at moving an objective or picking up a retrieval from point A to point B, or just going out and getting stuff because she's got the movement. She has an additional teleport if she wants to chase someone who holds something, where she can move long, then throw her spear 3, and now she's caught up to your enemy's objective runner. And she's probably better in melee than your enemy's objective runner.
Yep.
Because who are like the really common objective runners? Like I'm thinking Zemo for some teams is going to be fairly good. Black Widow is the classic one. It is funny that the spear throw is 3, which is the same range as Black Widow's stealth. So Black Widow is not evading Proxima Midnight.
What a coincidence.
What a coinky dink. Granted, Black Widow can always just run. But Proxima Midnight, there's no free strikes in this game. So you could always, if someone's chasing your objective runner, you could just run away from them. But now that's still dictating actions a little bit.
Yeah, no,
so
I don't see...
I think Proxima could do a decent job objective running. It could be particularly strong if, say, you're doing herbs, for example, that you have Proxima Midnight is running the herb, and then Corvus Glaive takes his turn and gives Proxima's Midnight her turn immediately before your opponent can stop you or interfere.
Yeah.
That's potentially strong usage of that ability for objectives and for certain crises.
Yeah, it's a you kind of like that power kind of like is a get me out of trouble power. It's the okay, yeah, I could do an activation, but if I don't get rid of this person, then bad things are going to happen. So let's go ahead and activate the second person.
Yeah. I also kind of like how you could come from way downtown with Proxima Midnight's move and spear throw and be within 4 to trigger Wife of Corvus Glaive with your opponent not realizing you could pull it off, so you can get that surprise Corvus activation.
Corvus is stuck in melee with somebody, and suddenly it's just like, okay, she's really far away. That's great. And it's like, nope. Walk long, throw a spear. Now within one, I'm within four of him. We're good.
Because again, like a big part of this game is focus fire on your opponent's critical models, and like, oh hey, someone's almost out. If I can activate before them and put in the last 2 damage, they'll lose an activation this round.
Yeah.
So this kind of lets you play around that a little bit of just be like, no, I either quick activate my objective runner or my main damage dealer to get off a kill before you can heal, move, or otherwise shuffle around.
And don't
I don't
forget
know.
that place one doesn't mean that you have to be on that facing. So you can place it behind a character. So like Modok and any other huge bases, you're getting almost 3 inches, 4 inches of movement extra from a spear throw.
Yeah, it's honestly like I think the two of them have. I don't think they have clearly defined roles they're going to be the best at. Um, I think Proxima would be a fairly solid scenario contester, crisis pickupper.
Yep.
I think she'd be fairly good at that. She has some abilities which would make her both pretty sturdy, and she also can keep up with the other characters that are doing that. I do want to look at the tactics cards that came with them real quick, because they do have one specifically for the two of them.
Okay. I actually don't have the picture of it, but go for it.
Execute. It is a reactive card, so you can do this. If I remember correctly, reactive would mean you can do it outside of your turn.
On when somebody else does an action.
When Corvis Glaive targets an enemy character with an attack that is within 1 of an allied Proxima Midnight, or when Proxima Midnight targets an enemy character with an attack within 1 of an allied Corvis Glaive, both characters may spend 2. If they do, the enemy character rolls no defense dice for this attack.
We're good. We're good.
100%. I feel like this is Corvus Glaive is the one who's going to be trying to deliver this attack. Although, if it's like Quantum Starburst, then Proxima Midnight I think is also going to be able to deliver a solid attack. What I do like about this a lot is the other one has to be within 1 of the target, but the one making the attack could be at any range.
Yeah.
The spouse has to be the one next to the target, not the attacker. So Proxima can actually use this for her quantum break as long as Corvus is next to the target.
Yeah.
Or if, like, say you did, or like, let's just hypothetically, this is going to burn 2 attack. This is going to burn a lot of energy in 2 tactics cards. Let's say somehow you had like 3 energy to spend on both characters. It's your activation. Proxima Midnight runs out. Hut, long. Spear throw. I'm now within 1 of, I don't know, Red Skull. And cool, I'll play Mothership. Cool, my hubby's here now too. Hubby, take it away. Oh, I probably stabbed Red Skull for a damage.
Please kill him.
And then Hubby's like, oh, are you still within 1 because of your teleport? And actually, so am I. Cool, Red Skull, suck a dick. Execute.
Now, the only thing I would see, like Red Skull with his Hail Hydra, is like, please God, don't hit me, don't hit me.
This is a hypothetical.
Yes,
you
but
could do this to like any leader.
But it's that's actually a good combo with people like on objectives that you need to get rid of because you're going to lose. That is a really good combo of the objective runner is really too far away and I need them to drop something. Like that is that combination. God, it does so much damage. Because then you could do like, you teleport him. He does an attack. He gets he moves, and then does a flurry. So he could technically attack somebody, move a medium after being like halfway across the board. Actually, fully across the board. He could be sitting on the back edge. You can go to the other back edge, attack somebody, move a medium, and do another attack.
I actually don't even know if I'd use his Deadly Glaive for this execution, because if you just spent 3 energy to Mothership and execute, I would actually consider using his basic 5-dice strike, because he gets energy for every hit.
Yeah.
And so you get hopefully because they have no defense, you get a pile of energy back. So now you can afford to
Who has super high defense?
Well, don't do this to Hulk.
No, definitely don't do this.
Hulk's not worth it. Thor would probably be a high value target for this because Thor is a tanky boy. I think he's got fours. Captain America has fours. Captain America can count blanks.
Oh yeah, anyone that counts blanks, this is perfect for.
So you could use this to finish off. You could either use this to flip back Black Panther to his
Yep.
wounded side, which makes him notably worse defensively. You could use it to finish off a wounded Cap.
Yep.
Granted, I think Proxima plus Mothership gives you so many tactical combinations, though, that I would almost be like, I don't want to sit on this. I don't want to wait for Cap to get injured. It's like me with
I
it's
want
like me with
this.
Wakanda Forever. I want a Wakanda Forever turn 1.
Yes.
I'm not waiting.
But I mean, this is like that combination. Killmonger. It's just like you can just take out Killmonger.
Well, you could KO him if you're doing it early.
Yeah. Definitely use this on Black Panther. Definitely use this on Cap. I would almost say do this on MODOK. Like
MODOK, I'm not sure I would do this on because MODOK's defensive ability makes your wilds count as nothing, which means you can't flurry with Corvus. Because MODOK affects your attack roll. MODOK's defense roll is not as important. You could do this to an enemy Ebony Maw.
Yeah, you should definitely do this to an enemy Maw. Hold on, let me look at Groot. Because
like Ebony Maw's ability says he gets to use 5 for his defense, whereas Execute says you don't get to use anything for your defense.
Yeah, Groot's only a 4 physical, 2 energy, so he that doesn't matter really against him. So anyone that's got huge energy, anyone that's got huge physical.
This card I think is good enough. It's relatively cheap, 2 off of both. And since they both have strikes which generate energy, they could probably be sitting with 2 pretty easily. I would say if you're taking both Proxima and Corvus, and again, I don't necessarily think you have to take them together.
Read the card again for me.
When Corvis Glaive targets an enemy, it's in the thread I sent you if you want to scroll and look at it. When Corvus Glaive targets an enemy with an attack that is within 1 of an allied Proxima, or when Proxima targets an enemy with an attack that is within 1 of an allied Corvus, both characters spend 2. And then the enemy character rolls no defense dice.
For the entire attack, or for the entire round, or
for the entire attack, for this attack. So flurry would, if like Corvus flurries off of it, then the enemy would get defense dice for the flurry.
So only on the first attack that would happen.
Yep.
I was hoping it gave you a free attack, because that would just be insane.
No.
But yeah, that's wow.
Although
take that card, just take it. If you're taking both of them,
good enough. If you're taking both, I would take it because I don't think it's actually going to be that hard to pull this off at all, given the fact you could just activate them one after the other after Proxima sets it up. Yeah. This is an easy card to pull off. The other card in the set is... Oh, sorry, there's 2 more cards. Other card is Price of Failure. I think we've all seen this one at least once in spoilers. Choose an injured character to play it. It doesn't cost anything. Every other character gets 3 power, and the chosen character is KO'd.
That's good if you're sitting on like 1 health, or like you're going to die. Just go ahead and like, okay, well, if I'm going to die, I might as well get 3 power from everyone.
I think that what this card actually kind of does psychologically for your opponent is if your opponent knows that you have it, it now means they have to double tap every one of your characters. Yeah. Is they have to, as quickly as possible, take them out before you get a chance to do it.
Yeah.
So, like, the worst case scenario for your opponent is they fail to kill and leave one of your characters on the table by, like, 2 health.
Yeah, it's just especially now that, like, okay, with the Glaive of Immortality and a bunch of this, like, you reduce all the damage by 1, there's a really good chance you're going to be sitting on like 1 or 2 damage on your flip side, and then it's just like, well, do I really want to, like, because you can use that at any time
during its active, so during your turn.
Yeah, but so just do your turn, do your attacks, and then just kill yourself.
100% you could play it that way.
Yeah,
that's solid.
I cannot wait to put every single one of these characters on the table.
And then finally, Blood Despair. When a Black Order character would be dazed by an enemy effect, it can spend 3 power. The character immediately does an attack before they are dazed, and then if this attack results in them removing damage somehow, they are not dazed. I don't know
Wait.
of any characters.
If they somehow heal,
Yeah,
it has to be like a reality stone or something. That has
It's-
to be like some type of stone power.
or Thanos has a heal attack.
Oh god, if Thanos has a heal attack.
I'm pretty sure Thanos has a way to recover his health by attacking, just based because this card exists.
God, that would be insane. All right, I'm so happy for these characters. Like these two characters are definitely. I don't see any of the Black Order being put in other lists. I think if you're going to take Black Order, you're going to take Black Order.
I don't agree with that necessarily, but you're allowed to believe that.
Well, you're wrong. It's fine. Wait, you know what? We'll talk about that next time.
I would take Black Dwarf in other factions. That's a lot of good tanking right there. Can you imagine Wakanda with Black Dwarf just to stand there and be like, I know you wanted to hit Killmonger, but hear me out.
Don't hit small friend. All right, so
Paid me a lot of money to be here.
we can talk about like how Black Order fits in other lists. We can talk about their tactics card. We can talk about their stuff. But for right now, I think we did a really good job on Corvis Glaive and Proxima Midnight.
Yeah, round of applause for us. We did it.
Yay! We're almost done. We just have Thanos, which we haven't been spoiled yet.
No, I think our next one we're going to be talking about the newer Avengers that have come out. I'm excited to talk about them.
Oh, we're gonna talk about Bow Boy. Ugh.
Bow boy.
No. God, I hate like if he's so like he's one of those characters that's so good that even though I don't want to play him, I'm like, oh, I gotta paint him up and play him.
Well, that was James.
And that's Jake. So game off.
Game off.